if we are offering charitable opportunities as part of our gifting experience, allowing some personalization there too, so people can pick what they are invested in and what they value, because that also creates a continual feel-good moment as well.
All right, here we are, episode 8. Very exciting. Excited to talk today about corporate social responsibility, giving back, and gifting. As we close out the year, I think it's really appropriate time to talk about what our clients are doing and what we're doing to incorporate CSR and give back experiences, and how we're gifting and building culture in our own organizations and within our clients' organizations as we close out the year. So let's start from the beginning here. And Ashley, why don't you explain what corporate social responsibility is, which we very commonly call CSR, and it rolls off our tongue very easily as CSR. So you will hear that throughout this episode.
For sure. Yeah, no, I think it's important to define it and really understand what the importance of it too. So I think we can dive into that as well. But corporate social responsibility is really the opportunity for corporations to engage in some sort of charitable component. Oftentimes it can be tied to something that maybe is part of their corporate culture or their corporate initiatives. And also provides an opportunity, I think, for what we do as a DMC and how we leverage CSR, or corporate social responsibility, to also tie that back to local impact as well. So it's the opportunity for them to really create an experience for their attendees to participate in that initiative, to get them involved, to get them engaged, and then obviously to tie that back and understand how that impacts their larger goal and their larger missions around charitable or give back components. And I think the importance of that too, and I think I said that quickly as we were defining it, is that local component, right? As DMCs, what we are really tasked to do is to drive the messaging of what their overall initiatives are, but on a local level, right? So I think that's something too that's really valuable when working with a DMC and understanding the importance, is how we can make that local impact matter.
Absolutely. And honestly, in the last 10 days, I have touched probably 6 different corporate give back CSR experiences at different types of programs, between it having been Veterans Day recently, attending the FICP, the Finance and Insurance Conference Planners program, and then also getting requests from even some of our local hotelier partners that want to do something internally for their teams as we go into Thanksgiving and the holiday season, and really a time where it's so important to give back to our community. So we've created really great local partnerships with some different veterans organizations and homeless shelters and food banks where they look forward to our call, because it usually means not just a couple of canned food items are coming through the door, but truckloads, boxes after boxes, because we're having thousands of people build packages and similar things of need. And we're always working with those organizations to ask the question, what do you need? We're not just building packages of things that feel good to us. But I think another piece to it too is that for a long time, the CSR experience at an event was blocked out as like an hour or 2-hour segment during the meeting. It's a mix now. I'm seeing a lot more of ongoing in the reg area or in the foyer during a reception, where you can experience be a part of the experience without actually making it part of your full agenda, because we are seeing, meetings shorten in time frame. They're going from 3 or 4 days to 2 days or a day and a half. And so sometimes you can't fit in a 2-hour team building give back. But you are still team building when you have a table set up or a couple of tables set up where people can engage together at their own leisure, at their own time throughout that day and a half meeting. So I think that's been a big trend that I'm seeing with the CSR experiences and how they're approached. It used to be, tables of 8, and you did all this trivia and you built up the experience. And then it really kind of transitioned into, well, what can we do at the same time as 5 other things? Because we have so much to get figured out in our one meeting. So,
right.
I don't
It
know.
was part of the agenda, right? You built it into the agenda. The time block was there. You knew you were going to have everyone initiate on something. And I think you're right. We're seeing it threaded through. And I would say it's even something that is often, digitally advertised or digitally promoted as people are even registering for the conferences and events that they're attending. They really want to be able to set that tone and set that messaging from the beginning and the offset to get people excited, to kind of share out what the larger mission is and the larger goals and objectives are and that impact, because it gets people engaged earlier. And I think that's really the trend too, is just the more that we can get people engaged, or the more that our clients can get people engaged in whatever, CSR component is going to be a part of the meeting or event, the better that everyone is going to be when they're showing up and kind of understanding the real dynamics at hand.
Absolutely. And then it's also tying in, what is the corporation all about, or who are the attendees all about, and how can we tie that in? So we, for a long time, when we're working with, medical device companies or technology companies, we were doing a lot of like STEM backpacks for schools. But now we can go further and do, robot wars, where we build robots and do robotic competitions, which is great for those engineer audiences or those tech forward audiences. We've got other, clients that we're building solar car kits to do like a Go Green initiative. So if sustainability and being more green is more important in the accomplishments that you're trying to make in the program, then that's another sort of twist on the traditional sort of build a bike moment that we used to do so much of. We're also seeing more, ties into the general session. So there's a group we work with that does like rhythmic drumming and rhythmic, where you build drums and then you play them and you work together. And it becomes this moment where everybody, is part of the performance at the end. And it can be incorporated into a main stage. There's, so many times that we work with food pantries. And, I did one yesterday where it was everybody bring a canned food item to the lunch and call it a day. But, taking it a step further, we've got ones where you're, building the canned food into golf courses or into board games. We have one where, nostalgia is really in right now. So where you actually take the board game experience and, Monopoly, and you use the canned food into a Monopoly game with a group.
No, I think that's a really great point. I know you have a good pulse on some sustainable CSR. And can you delve a little bit into that?
Yeah, wine to water is a really cool one, where you're building water filters, especially for places that really need them. And that can be kind of set up as an ongoing area during a reception or as a set aside team building experience. I think too, the thing that FICP did kind of interesting this year, or one of the things that they did was they actually had their keynote speaker on the last day, had a really interesting sustainability touch. And he was a wrestler that ended up overcoming some challenges and drug addictions and all kinds of crazy things, and ended up going to a pilgrimage to Africa and started building water wells for the people of Africa that literally have no access to clean water. So, there's things that we can do in a ballroom of a meeting room that can impact thousands and thousands of people that, are candidly dying just because they don't have clear, good water. And bigger corporations have their eye on that and have their ear on that, and they want to do something to make a difference. And so by tying in the CSR event that you're doing in your meeting to your general session keynote is a really cool kind of play into making sure your messaging is consistent all the way through. It was a real feel good moment. It's how we closed out the whole week. And I think we all left thinking, we're so lucky, and there's things that we can do to help people that aren't maybe as fortunate as we are.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point with that. We did an overseas conference at another organization that I was with, and we obviously were in Ireland. And so we had a speaker talk about the troubles in Northern Ireland. And then the give back component was part of that. And tying the speaker into the give back or the CSR component makes such a difference, and something I think is always great to encourage clients to do, because you're hearing directly from the people that are going to feel that impact or that have experienced the outcome of that impact. So I think that's a really key one. And I think something that we're kind of seeing that messaging being really relevant and really important when clients are building out their agendas in their program.
Absolutely. And if you have time in your agenda and you can have it, you do it as a team building event, and you can have the winning team actually deliver the items to, a children's hospital or something, for example. I mean, those are the lasting impacts that you're making on not only the children, but the, 10 winners and the impact that they're going to maybe have when they go back to their day-to-day life moving forward. So I think CSR is actually not going anywhere at all. It's actually increasing in relevance in all of our meetings. I think probably 75% of the meetings that we do right now have some element of CSR, whether it's formal or informal. It is a topic that is really gaining more traction. And it's not just about charitable impact, but it's also about the impact that you're making on the economy and sorry, that wasn't what I was trying to say. It's not just about the charitable give back, but it's the impact that you're making on the environment as well. So people are looking at, okay, what are some CSR moments where we can maybe, plant trees or do something that's going to actually have a bigger impact on the world we live in to make it a better place after we've left it. So to your point earlier about tying in those local moments, there's a lot of things that can be done specific to each destination where your meeting takes place, where you can really make an impact on a community. So let's switch gears for a minute and talk a little bit about as we go into the holiday season, the other piece to it is the gifting that happens a lot around holidays. And we talk a lot about gifting in incentive programs and how we, create experiences and surprise and delight moments and everything like that. But at the holidays, it becomes really the forefront of a lot of conversations. And I think there's a lot of things happening with gifting that has changed over the last few years. One of those being people like choices. They don't want to just be given a sweatshirt that everybody else got too, or a water bottle that everyone else got too. And we're seeing a lot more gifting experiences. So, we've got a partner that'll actually bring an Airstream out, and they'll set up, full-blown camping sites and all kinds of really fun outdoor activities and different things. And then inside the camper, they'll put all the indoor gifting options, and you'll get to pick from anything you want that they're providing, and it gets shipped directly to you because nobody wants to add one more thing to their suitcase when they're traveling. And it becomes this more personalized moment to the gifting experience. What are you seeing, Ashley, as far as specifically, like, what do people want for gifts, and what do you think is really on the forefront of people's minds when they are thinking about gifting this time around?
Yeah, I think the thing that I take away from it is that personalization and the personalization at scale, right? How do we provide something that really speaks to the individual, their interest. And then also from a sustainability angle, we want this piece to have longevity when we're gifting it, right? We don't want it to be something that they use once and then they kind of toss in the corner and don't use over and over again. So really taking into consideration the pieces and the value that we're hoping that they will have long term. I think the other thing too on that choice piece, we'd mentioned it before, but really personalizing, if it is going to be tied to a charitable donations, they were doing a gifting with a charitable component to it. Also making that charitable component personalized as well. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes people align themselves with different charity organizations. Some are really, involved in helping unhoused. Some people are really involved in helping children's organizations, pet organizations. So really making sure that if we are offering charitable opportunities as part of our gifting experience, allowing some personalization there too, so people can pick what they are invested in and what they value, because that also creates a continual feel-good moment as well.
So, confession, I am one of those people that have started playing pickleball like the rest of the world. And we have started doing more pickleball tournaments at our events than I ever thought I would see coming. And if you remember, for many years, things related to golf were the go-to gift. Now it has changed to things related to pickleball. And I have seen when people have a variety of options, like we were just talking about, where they can choose, they're choosing the pickleball set, the really nice pickleball set with the travel case, or the really nice, pickleball net ball set combo or whatever it may be. So I think that that's been a kind of interesting new trend on the gifting sector. Another thing is, for many years, we were seeing a lot of Maui Jim sunglasses, like everywhere we went. Nothing against Maui Jims. I have like 18 pairs from everything that I've done. But the brand that I have seen now a couple times this year, which actually has a little bit more of a story to tell because they use sustainable products. They're all wooden sunglasses. It's called Joy Coast. And they are actually planting 10 trees for every pair of sunglasses that they gift at an event. But they do the same thing, in principle as Maui Jim. They give you the whole tray set up with all the different sunglasses you can pick from. So you have that custom personalized moment, but it's a very lightweight sunglasses made out of wood, and even the case is made out of some variation of wood as well too. So for those interested in sustainability and maybe have done Maui Jims before, that's another kind of newer version of a similar experience. And then the other thing that I'm seeing more of is things related to comfort and family and home life, because people are so much more appreciative of their time, with their personal time, with their people, and the things that they choose to do outside of their 9 to 5 or 9 to 9 or whatever they're doing these days. And so I think they're making more decisions around gifting when they have the option of picking something that, maybe I want to bring something back for my child or my, spouse or somebody that didn't get to be a part of this event because I got to go on this great experience for 3 days. If maybe the gift that I get after is something for them, then, they'll appreciate my job and what I'm doing even a little bit more, and everybody's happy, right? So I just went on a trip and I was gifted a choice of options, and I went with like the skillet flat top because my husband loves to cook. I'm not the cook of the house, and confession. And he was thrilled because, he was home with our young kid, and, I came back and not just said like, oh, I had this great fun time and let me tell you all the stories, but I said, and guess what? In the mail in the next couple of weeks is going to be something for you as a thank you for kind of holding down the fort while I was away. So those are, I think, what's going through people's head, not just mine, when they're at events. So having those options so you can decide, whether you're single and, that's not really at the forefront, but, or maybe you're being gifted experiences like overnight stays and things of that nature that you can then do with the people you love.
Yeah, I was going to say that's where I wanted to pivot to and talk a little bit about is the gift of experiences, because that's what we do. We're in the business of creating experiences. And so I think, I've seen some really unique twists on how do we provide a gift for someone, but also make it experiential at the same time, right? So we did a really incredible event with a group of clients in New York, and, shoes are trending, right? So everyone loves their sneakers. And we brought in a really incredible artist who, what she does is design custom sneakers and hand paints them during the event. But the cool thing was they got to come up, fill out a card about what they are interested in. I think I had someone do a dirty martini sneaker, someone do the skyline of New York. And they had this personalized moment where they got something really practical that they're going to continue to use. It became an artistic piece that they could show off and talk about, and it became about their personality. But they also had this opportunity to like mingle with everyone, talk about the different designs that they were incorporating, the meaning behind the different designs that they were incorporating. And they walked away with this custom piece. So I think anytime we can merge the experiential with the gifting, that's the sweet spot, right? And then if you layer on that charitable piece on top of it and that feel good moment, we've really hit it out of the park.
Yeah. And the way to layer on to that story that you just told is actually when we did a group in Arizona a few years ago, we partnered with an organization that provides shoes for kids in need that don't have access to, quality sneakers to wear to school. And we actually they're sort of, looked like a Converse of sorts. And we all painted and decorated the sneakers to give back to the kids. So while the attendees get the professionally done, beautiful, high-end sneaker as a gift, while they're waiting for it to be complete, the attendees are actually making, several pairs of shoes in different sizes, and for men and for women, boys and girls and different ages, to be able to have shoes to wear to school. And that was a really cool thing to tie in the charitable moment to all of it too.
Wow. What a great impact. I love that story. Well, I have a confession. I don't have any real idea what we are going to be, I don't want to say it that way.
This is going to be live like 2 weeks before Christmas. So we may know.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
I know. I may know by then. That's what I'm thinking. Like maybe we jump in and do like a tie-in back to that.
I want to talk about the CSR experience. Ask me something about when we've taken an event that would be normally just like a nonprofit raise money and how to make it more of an experience in a CSR moment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I would love to hear. I mean, obviously, sometimes the goals and initiatives are truly just to raise money and to come walking away with a donation to make. How do you then create an experience around that ask from a client to say, hey, we have to raise money for this. We want to be able to walk away and give this organization XYZ, but we also want to be able to make an experience for our attendees?
Yeah, so we did something really fun last week, actually. It was a Colorado Gold Rush. It was out at the Broadmoor, which is an estate, property that was built on the gold rush and the success of the gold rush. And we really leaned into that. We actually were raising money for the Red Cross, and we were doing it with a intimate group of about 60 people. And what we did was we actually allowed them to mine for gold at the event. Now we did that a couple of ways and made it really interesting. So they, at the beginning or, during cocktail hour, they were invited to scan a QR code, make a donation to participate in the gold mining experience. And while that sort of cocktail hour took place, there was actual gold panning outside where they could pan for gold and, through a sluice and the whole kind of, what you see on the Discovery Show TV shows these days and all that. And then we had, gold permanent jewelry and all the other kind of fun things to engage with. And then we actually had we had a donation to a lot of beautiful properties for overnight stays. And those were going to be some of the prizes that they were going to mine for, mixed with some really cool geodes, which they got to physically crack open during the event as well. So we set up what many call a human claw machine, which oftentimes you think of with ball pit balls and is sort of a hokey, trusses kind of just a fun little sort of nostalgic moment. But we turned it into a gold mining experience. So we actually covered all the trusses with custom branding. We filled the pit with we built it to look like a big cart, a big mining cart. And we filled it with cardboard style boxes that were all branded with the different organizations on the outside of them. So instead of balls, you actually dug through what looked like dirt to find little pouches of gold. And inside the pouches of gold, you had a prize. So you were actually rigged up in a apparatus where you were dangled over this big wagon full of dirt that you then dug through to find your gold pouch. And inside the gold pouch, you announced, this is my prize that I won. And we actually designed it as almost a white elephant, Yankee swap style. So if you were later on in the search, you could steal a prize from someone earlier on that maybe had an overnight stay at a place that you really wanted to go. I mean, there were stays to London and Vegas and all over the country, Canada throughout. And people were going nuts to get these prizes. So out of the full audience that attended the event, we had about a 95% rate of people that actually got into this ball pit and mined for gold. So that was just a unique way to get people to donate, to engage, and to feel like they were making a difference, but really got to do an experience in a creative way that maybe they'd never done before. And it was really, really well received. Another one that we've been doing every year through NACE in Boston is called the Money Ball. And that's one where we they have a whole slew of maybe 100 different prizes that you can win. And they have an auctioneer style setup where you put each prize has $1 donation associated with it, but they're low dollars. It's like $2, $5, things like that. And each table has sort of a bucket in the center. And if you want to participate in the chance to win that prize. Oh no. Go ahead. if you want to participate in a chance to win that prize, you put $1 into the bucket if that's the worth of that prize. You put your paddle up, like your auction paddle, and there is an auctioneer that is calling off numbers while a Vanna White of sorts is facing the other way and can't see who's sitting where and what their numbers are. And they will say stop, and whatever number they stop on is the person that wins that prize. So something that maybe is like a $25 Starbucks card, there may have been 50 people that put in $1 for a chance to win that. And then, that item made $50 instead of the 25 that it was worth. So that's been a really popular, it's probably the most sold out event that happens in the NACE community in the Boston area. And I always like going to it because it's very themed and very fun. But it's just a different way to know that you're making a difference. Everyone comes with other dollar bills, 5s, 10s, whatever. And you can get some really great prizes for $5 and have a lot of fun with it as well. So
I think that's really engaging. And the fact that you can engage individual attendees. But also I've seen it done where you engage individual departments too. So it's the whole sales department has to be incentivized to, scan the QR code or to donate money to be able to participate, or the entire operations team or the entire product development team. And then it becomes already gamified, but you're incentivizing people to participate in raising money and then creating the experience. So I think that's really unique, Cara.
Absolutely. And then the last story that I wanted to share from last week that I thought was really impactful from a give back standpoint was at the end of FICP, they invited every single employee at the Sheraton Denver downtown to come into the ballroom. First of all, receive a standing ovation from all of the attendees as a thank you for being a part of the event. But as part of the charitable auction and silent auction that the FICP attendees participated in that week, they took a portion of it and they actually surprised 2 of the employees while they were standing in that line and brought them on stage and gave them pretty impactful $10,000 each to 2 employees that were, 27 years with the organization. There was one gentleman from the maintenance department, another woman from housekeeping who was maybe 30 something years. And they came on stage. They had no idea. Their managers brought them up and they were, a little story was told about them and the impact that they have made on that property, and that the FICP community wanted to give back to them and do something. And I mean, tears to their eyes, tears to our eyes. I mean, the impact, because we had just spent 3 days, being serviced by these people and we appreciated them. But until you really hear their stories and you understand how special some of the different humans are that put together your events, and how many people it takes to put on some of these events, to give back to those direct people, I thought was really magical. And I definitely want to try to incorporate it more into some of the programming that we do. So there's so much to talk about with CSR. There's so much to talk about with gifting. I think we could go on and on about this topic. And I think we'll probably continue to bring this topic to life throughout next year, because it is really a growing portion of the event experience that everyone is going to need in 2025 as well.
Yeah, no, this has been great. And I think just a quick nudge, we want to hear about what you guys are interested in when it comes to CSR and gifting and, what you're planning with your organizations. So make sure you drop us a line, confess to us what you're maybe curious to know or have done in the past. And we'd love to hear from you guys. But this has been really great, Cara. And I think it gets everyone excited for the upcoming holiday season for sure.